Boston researcher and physician is warning that we are at DEFCON 3 in regards to the bird flu. Meanwhile, in China, we're seeing a chilling resemblance of 2019 and 2020 all over again. Hospitals are reportedly overwhelmed with a new mystery disease outbreak. We're going to cover this and much more in today's podcast. Let's go.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
All right, what's going on, guys? It is Saturday, January 4th. It is the weekend of the first weekend of 2025. And we welcome you to today's program. Again, this is End Time Headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. And of course, I'm your host, founder and voice of End Time Headlines, Ricky Scaparo. We want to welcome you to the program. Listen, if you're new, first time joining us here on Rumble, YouTube, maybe you're listening by Apple, by Spotify, we welcome you. If you're able to comment, we would love to hear from you. Let us know that you're new and where you guys are joining us from. And while you're doing that, and everybody that's regulars, you know the drill. Why don't you go ahead and hit that like button? That's going to help get eyes on this message, this program, our ministry. It's going to help us push this out there on these algorithms. And then you can take it a step further for your benefit and hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That's going to keep you in the know here on these social media outlets. And we always like to tell everybody, take it a step further. And if you don't want to miss anything that we put out there, you can download our free app. It's available on Apple, Android, whatever device you have, we've got you covered. Download it today, hit yes to push notifications, and you're going to be squared away and good with everything that we put out there. And of course, you can find us on all social media platforms, guys. We're on Facebook, of course, here, YouTube, Rumble. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're all over the place. So we would love for you guys. If you're on any of those outlets, look for us. Just type in End Time Headlines. Look for our official ETH logo, and you will find it. So here we are. We're 4 days into the new year. As you know, all of the media has been swamped. Their entire coverage has been and rightfully so, what has taken place in Louisiana, what's taken place in Las Vegas, these two major events that struck literally not even 24 hours after the ball drops in New York, going into 2025. We're going to do a podcast on this probably next week, but I don't want to talk about it today, but we are going to cover one aspect of this. But there was an article that caught my attention, and it talks about these, and this was not written by a believer or a Christian or anything like that, but it was written by a secular publication. And they said, and it talks about these black swan events that could be coming for 2025. And one of those black swan events, and we'll give you full coverage of that next week in one of our podcasts. We'll talk about what they are saying could come in 2025. But one of the things that we're going to talk about today is a full-blown bird flu pandemic. All right, check this out. A Boston researcher and a physician is warning that we are at, quote, DEFCON 3 for the bird flu. And here's what it means. Let's check this article out. Again, this is from Boston.com. Runny noses and queasy guts aren't the only concerns this cold and flu season. Public health experts are urging vigilance amid recent reports of severe cases of bird flu in at least 2 North American patients. The ominous news of severe avian influenza, or H5N1, in a Louisiana patient and a Canadian teenager was enough for Dr. Jeremy Faust, a public health researcher and emergency physician at Brigham and Women's Hospital, to raise his threat assessment. Quote, all told, I think a, quote, severe case of H5N1 coming on the cusp of the forthcoming peak of flu season merits an increase in our threat assessment of the overall situation. Again, let me say that again. Again, this is coming from a doctor who is a public health researcher and emergency physician, is saying that a severe case of the H5N1 coming on the cusp of the forthcoming peak of flu season, again, merits an increase in our threat assessment of the overall situation. He went on to write, he actually wrote a piece in Inside Medicine and a newsletter saying that, quote, I'd say we are now at the equivalent of DEFCON 3 with H5N1. And in case you didn't know, DEFCON 1 is considered the highest threat level. And this guy is saying, this physician and researcher is saying that we are at DEFCON 3. So we're moving up. We're moving up the threat assessment level. He went on to say that, quote, nobody knows what will happen next. Are we on the precipice of another horrible pandemic, or will we dodge a bullet? He went on to say, what is undeniable is that our current circumstance is akin to a game of Russian roulette, and there have never been more bullets in the chamber. Wow. The Centers for CDC and Prevention has reported 66 confirmed human cases of bird flu in the U.S. so far during the 2024 outbreak. So they're calling this an outbreak. The U.S. saw its first reported dairy cow infections in late March and marked its first reported human case on April the 1st. Though New England has seen no human cases, Vermont officials recently confirmed bird flu was detected in a non-commercial, non-poultry backyard flock in Franklin County the week before Christmas. All right, he goes down, we scroll down here, he says, quote, an emerging potential epidemic demands our attention and our full resources. Recently, during a Face the Nation interview, Dr. Leanna Wynn, the former Baltimore Health Commissioner, told Face the Nation that, quote, amid concerns over the bird flu, the Biden administration should make rapid tests available and ask the FDA to authorize the already existing H5N1 shot. Wow. And this comment, guys, stirred a major meltdown on social media.
So, bird flu. Is this report out of Louisiana worrisome? And if so, why?
Well, it's one more sign that the drumbeat of bird flu coming closer to humans is becoming a major threat. So we've already seen this year that there have been a number of mammalian species close to humans that now have bird flu outbreaks. We have outbreaks in poultry in all 50 states. 16 states have outbreaks in cattle. In California, in the last 30 days, there have been more than 300 herds that tested positive. And now we have 66 cases of bird flu in humans. And this is almost certainly a significant undercount because we have not been doing nearly enough testing, so we really don't know the extent of bird flu that's out there in humans. But this particular case, it's someone who is severely ill, but not only that, researchers have isolated the virus in this individual who is sick in Louisiana, and they found that this particular strain of the virus appears to have acquired mutations that make it more likely to bind to airway receptors. Bird flu has been around for a long time.
About 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. But it hasn't been a major issue in humans because while it spreads among birds, it hasn't really spread among mammals. But now there is this mutation. And there's another concern now, major too, which is that we're in flu season. And it's possible that a single person could have bird flu and seasonal flu at the same time.
Something called reassortment.
That's right.
Where things change because of one illness becoming another illness through reassortment of a mutated virus.
That's right. And so the viruses could exchange genes. You could develop a new hybrid virus. And if you now have a virus that's more contagious and causes more severe disease, that's when it becomes a major threat to humankind.
What should be happening in the Biden administration right now that isn't going on?
Yeah, there are two main things that they should be doing in the days that they have left. The first is to get testing out there. I feel like we should have learned our lesson from COVID that just because we aren't testing, it doesn't mean that the virus isn't there. It just means that we aren't looking for it. We should be having rapid tests, home tests available to all farm workers, to their families, for the clinicians taking care of them so that we aren't waiting for public labs and CDC labs to tell us what's bird flu or not. And the second very important thing is this is not like the beginning of COVID where we were dealing with a new virus, we didn't have a vaccine. There actually is a vaccine developed already against H5N1. The Biden administration has contracted with manufacturers to make almost 5 million doses of the vaccine. However, they have not asked the FDA to authorize the vaccine.
All right, meanwhile, back here in America, face mask mandates return in multiple states as doctors warn of, quote, quad-demic of 4 viral infections. Wow. A quadruple whammy of viruses are striking the U.S. as millions go back to work after the holidays. Official figures reveal that infections caused by flu, the RSV, or respiratory illness that causes the cold, and norovirus. And by the way, they're saying the norovirus is at an all-time, they've never seen this kind of level of intensity of how rapidly this is spreading and how many cases there is of this norovirus. All started to surge over the Christmas period when families gathered to celebrate. And experts say figures will only continue to rise over the coming weeks as the U.S. heads into the peak period of its annual flu season. All right, so let's get down here, blah, blah, blah. The surge in infections is prompting a return of mask mandates in some states, with the hospital system in Wisconsin this week becoming the latest to reinstate them. Hospitals in parts of, here they are, California, Illinois, Indiana, and New Jersey, all have also brought back the rules for staff and visitors. So if you live in these 4 states, guys, let's say 5 states, well, 6. So you got Wisconsin, California, Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, and New York City. All of these implementing these mask mandates for, again, staff, visitors, hospitals. Officials in New York City are urging people to consider wearing a face mask on public transport. So again, are we seeing a reemergence again of this nightmare that many of us are still not fully recovered from 2019, 2020? I'm about to show you something in a minute that's chilling in context of that question I just asked you. Experts say the surge of winter infections is being driven by increased mixing over the holiday period. Interesting verbiage. And also by travel on public transport and airplanes. The issue is compounded by the fact that people's immune systems were weakened, look at this, during the lockdowns that was contributed to womp-womp and work from home rules, leaving some at greater risk for more severe illnesses. Are you kidding me, guys? So now they're coming out and telling us that all the social distancing and the lockdowns actually worsened our immune systems. Imagine that. And now because of that, here we are, fast forward 5 years later, and we're paying the price for this. This is why there's an explosion of all these viruses, because everyone's immune system was so suppressed because of the mask, because of the social distancing. You do realize since from the time you're a child, it's actually a good thing and it's healthy for you to be exposed to bacteria. This is how you build an immune to it. But when you are, now we have a whole generation of children coming up and kids that they don't go out as much. They're not in the mud. They're not in the dirt as much. They're engrossed with electronics and social media and whatnot. And many of these are because they came out of that generation of the wah-wah, and because of the restrictions, because of the social distancing, because of all of this stuff, they don't socialize very well. And many of them don't. They just like hanging to themselves or just small groups. So again, this is why I'm not surprised by how many colds and flus and and different viruses that has been going rampant this winter. I know for us, since fall, we've went through about 4 or 5 bouts of different things. You get over one thing, and then you go about three or 4 weeks of a reprieve, and then something else comes. It's like every month, boom, 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 since October. So I know many of you guys are saying the same thing. I've read your comments. I've seen the reports on this. So this is what's going on, guys. All right. So again, we're seeing this return, this slow return of mask mandates across 6 states. Now, meanwhile, I want to show you something. All right. A little over a week ago, there were reports that China is stepping up monitoring of emerging respiratory diseases. Let me say that again. All right, if you look at the date of this report, December 27th, China began stepping up monitoring of, quote, emerging respiratory diseases. And now we fast forward, and here we are as of this report on January 3rd. So this was yesterday that this was reported. Look at this headline, guys. Mystery disease outbreak in China overwhelms hospitals in chilling echo of the want dark days. Unbelievable. China is reportedly being ravaged by a, quote, mysterious viral outbreak that is overwhelming some hospitals. Videos on social media appear to show hospital units overrun with patients in face masks and parents holding sick children and long lines in pediatric units. There have also been unverified reports that crematoriums and funeral homes are being overwhelmed. Here we go. This is echoing this same terrible rerun that we've all been concerned about watching again unfold. The alarming scenes and lack of official commentary have led some to draw similarities to the early days of the you-know-what outbreak in China. Wow. Local news reports have blamed a little-known virus called I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. It's called HMPV, which normally causes a mild cold-like illness. For the latest outbreak, though, officials have yet to confirm this. This situation is said to be similar to the winter of 2022-23 when China was hit with a wave of mycoplasma pneumonia cases, which is a condition dubbed white lung, which is also normally mild. That outbreak was blamed on children having low natural immunity, look at this, due to the effects of China's harsh lockdowns and school closure measures aimed at containing the want virus. So all over the world, guys, everywhere that they implemented these masks and lockdowns, now we're having this resurgence of white lung and RSV and pneumonia and all these things. And even I'll go a step further and say that there's even cases of, there's an explosion of lung cancer among young people. Official reports from the Chinese Center for CDC and Prevention suggest that the regular flu is leading the latest outbreak, with 30% of tests coming back positive for influenza, and 1 in 7 hospitalized with a severe respiratory illness testing positive for it. The Chinese government and the World Health Organization are yet to address the videos publicly, which are being widely circulated on social media. But the Chinese CDC warned that rates of multiple flu-like illnesses are on the rise. In its latest report for the week to December the 29th, data suggests that 7.2% of outpatient visits to local hospitals in northern provinces were due to a flu-like illness. This was up 12% on the previous week and above the levels for the same week every flu season since 2021. Again, so they're talking about all these percentages. I don't want to bore you with all that stuff. Videos claiming to show overwhelmed hospital units in China started to appear online around New Year's Eve. Boy, everything is just coming out of the gate on New Year's Eve. Viruses, terror attacks, conspiracies. What? It's like, what's next? What else did we not know that began to emerge on New Year's Eve that we're yet to face? This is insane. 2025 is, I'm telling you, it looks to be that it's going to be a very bumpy ride. All right, so they are reporting 7 or 8 people. One report says at least 7 to 8 died in 1 week, and they were in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 40s. The website also published quotes it said were from a funeral director who was claimed to have told them there were long lines at the crematorium. There are long lines for crematorium now, she said in translated quotes. Quote, today, 3 VIP furnaces were open. Again, 3 VIP crematorium furnaces were open. Quote, they were all burning and emitting a lot of smoke. It was terrible. If you don't know about the crematorium, you would think it's selling New Year goods. It's just like holding a trade fair during the Chinese New Year. All right, the alarm was also raised in China last year over a surge again in mystery pneumonia cases among children, with videos being posted online of mask-wearing crowds surging into Beijing's hospitals. Chinese officials said at the time the outbreak was not caused by a new virus, but was due to a, quote, rebound in diseases after the end of lockdowns. All right, guys, and since we're on this subject, we got to throw this out there too. And now we're having mainstream publications that are picking this up. This story first emerged on social media, and we talked about a little bit on our Telegram channel, and I was a little skeptical at first. But again, who knows at this point? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you the reports of what we're hearing, and then you can do what you want with it. But look at this. This is a headline from the Daily Mail. Mystery as thick fog sweeps the United States with reports of, quote, burning chemical smell in the air. All right, I'm going to read this. Quote, a thick fog is sweeping across the United States with locals in multiple states. So this is not just like one state, 2 states. Multiple states are reporting how a, quote, burning chemical-like smell has blanketed their communities. And guys, before we go any further, I would love to hear from you in the chat. If you're one of these communities that has witnessed this, quote, unquote, mystery fog with the burning chemical smell with it, we would love to hear from you. Because again, I'd love to hear from people that's in ground zero. I don't want to hear, well, I heard on social media or I saw a TikTok video. No, I want to know, have you experienced this? Have you seen this? Do you have video of it? Do you have images of it? Whatever the case would be, we'd love to hear from you, again, either in the chat or in the comments. Concerned Americans have flooded social media with videos of what looks like white particles raining down and swirling in the air. Some witnesses have also claimed that the fog has triggered health symptoms similar to a respiratory illness. There we go. That's why we're talking about this today, guys. It's all in the same thread. What is going on? Again, strange stuff, guys. We almost made it out of 2024, and then the drone stuff happened. And that was just like blowing up everywhere, and then it just kind of just dropped off the map. And then what happened? Right before we headed into the New Year's, all this mystery fog started showing up. Then we have, again, we all know what happened on New Year's Day. A Florida resident told the Daily Mail that they stopped at a gas station for about 10 minutes and began feeling ill. Within about an hour, I kept sneezing over and over for about 3 hours, and my eyes were really puffy. She went on to say that, quote, I got very warm and I felt like I had a fever and my stomach was cramping. Parts of Texas, now listen, look at all these states, guys. Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Florida, and Minnesota. All of these states. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at least 12 states across the United States. And by the way, it's not just the United States. It's also, experiences have also emerged from parts of Canada and the United Kingdom, sparking, quote, widespread concern. All of these locations were, quote, under fog alerts when the bizarre reports began to surface this week. Conspiracy theories are running rampant, with individuals suggesting the fog could be a kind of a chemical weapon or is related to the drones that mysteriously plagued the nation in December. Okay? Again, here are some of the shots from this. This is from social media text, from TikTok, probably Reels. Again, X. People from X took to them. One X user chimed in and said, quote, Well, weren't there drones that sprayed something? I seem to recall some videos of that somewhere. No idea the validity, though, asked one X user. A Texas woman shared on X that her dog has been acting strange when it goes outside. She keeps smelling the air, adding that she was experiencing burning eyes, a mild cough, stomach aches, and headaches. Another woman in Kansas shared that there were massive amounts of chemtrails over the area in a week, followed by dense fog. And then a California resident shared on X that her in Southern California, unusual fog that lasts few days. Strange smells, but I've been noticing the smell for months now, burning my nose. Seems like an all-out assault from the skies the last few days. One resident from St. Petersburg, Florida, shared a TikTok video of himself walking through the dense fog. He explained that fog typically dissipates later in the day, but the current natural phenomenon lingers into all hours of the night. The weirdest part is the taste and smell. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks and the taste of the air is toxic. It's, quote, super weird. However, the National Weather Service issued a dense fog advisory for multiple states, suggesting there could be a scientific explanation behind the bizarre reports. While the particles may seem unusual, fog is a visible aerosol consisting of tiny water droplets or ice crystals suspended in the air at or near the Earth's surface. Shining a light in the fog makes these particles visible. As for the chemical smell people have described, the fog can absorb and trap pollution or polluted air near the Earth's surface, acting as a carrier for the car exhaust, industrial emissions, and other, quote, airborne chemicals. So guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Here's one video right here. We can watch this together.
Okay, so here's the fog in Montana. This is not normal even for Montana. It was not like this 20 minutes ago. Yes, it is snowing, but in between the snow, you can see like this misty, like steam thing. And then my husband said that there's this smell of like burning plastic. I can't smell it right now because I'm like all stuffed up. I'm sick. But this fog is crazy. This is not normal.
All right, now let me go back to I'm going to go back to the reasoning of this. Okay, the reason. Somebody's got to bring reason back into this and logic. So let me go back again, and don't blast me, guys. I'm just reporting this. You can do what you want with it. Here's what they're telling us. Quote, when fog forms, sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, and other polluting gases are taken up or scavenged by fog water droplets. Again, this is coming from a Washington University atmospheric scientist. Do what you want with that. And an article for NASA. Now, you say NASA, there'll be people foaming at the mouth over that, but whatever. What's more, smells become more potent in humid air because the water droplets trap the odor, causing molecules and allow them to linger for longer and remain concentrated. Quote, this is not unusual for this time of the year. Okay, so that's, again, this is what the scientists and the so-called experts and the people and the meteorologists are telling us. Again, don't blast me. Do what you want with that. Again, where I live in Georgia, we've not experienced this, so I don't have a firsthand account of this. If you guys live in one of those, 12 states that are reporting this, then it's a different tune for you. And I get that. I understand that. So the bottom line is, let's recap this. The bottom line is we are in 2025. We are entering into the peak of flu and cold season. We are seeing an explosion of the norovirus that's causing many people to be sick. We're seeing an explosion of what they're calling a Quad-demic, which is 4 viral infections that are all going crazy and going rampant, and it's causing people to become ill with respiratory illnesses and viruses and all of the sorts. We've got mask mandates that are coming back in at least 6 states across the United States. We've got China that is now reporting another mystery illness that, again, by at least social media accounts are reporting that is overwhelming hospitals and crematoriums. And it's echoing the chilling repeat of what happened in 2019, 2020. And then we got this mystery fog that people across 12 states of the United States and outside of the United States, United Kingdom and Canada and different locations, all reporting that this weird, unusual, thick, almost like a chemical-like fog is coming in and causing respiratory reactions, sicknesses, illnesses, burning of the eyes, and all of the sorts. So guys, again, what are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section. I'm going to tell you, I always try to keep it biblical, okay? At the end of the day, we have to go to the scriptures. And we know, again, oh, and by the way, and I forgot, and I left this out too. And of course, the physician and the researcher is warning that we're at DEFCON 3 for the bird flu. So again, and the reason why I thought of this is because when we go back to Matthew 24, we have to remember, guys, that one of the signs of the coming of the Lord warned us that there would be pestilences, plural tense, in the last days. And again, when you look that up in the Greek, it literally means a disease that leads unto death. So this stuff should not catch us off guard, because we've been warned about this. This is only going to intensify. It's only going to increase. So what's going to happen in 2025? Are we going to go to DEFCON 3 all the way up to the highest level? Are we going to see a full-blown pandemic? Is something emerging from China once again? Is this going to be another virus that's already surfacing? Why did China a little over a week ago step up their monitoring of emerging respiratory diseases? What, do they know something we don't? Where did the drones go? Are they still out there? What are they doing? What is their purpose? What is their intent? What is their motives? Are they nefarious? Are they spraying something in the air? What's in the fog? What's next? The Mist? For you guys that has ever seen The Mist, Stephen King, The Mist, this is what it reminds me of. I mean, are we talking like CERN stuff here? Are we talking about the opening of other worlds and portals and dimensions and who knows? I mean, there is weird stuff happening, guys, in 2025. And wait till next week. I can't wait to get in this article next week, because we're going to pull up. And again, what caught my attention is this is not coming from a Christian source. This is not coming from some watchman. This is coming from a secular publication that is flat out just giving their predictions of what they believe could be major black swan events that we could see in 2025. We're going to cover all of that next week in a podcast. So listen, guys, I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope it's been very informative to you. Again, this is not to bring fear, but it's to bring information to you. It's to prepare you accordingly, so that you keep your head on a swivel, that you keep your head above the sand. Don't bury your head in the sand like the world that wants, I'm going to ignore all this and it'll go away. No, it won't go away. It's going to come at your doorstep and you're not going to be prepared accordingly. So again, this is not to scare, but to prepare. So I always like to leave you. That's why I always say, one of our sayings that we always say is Luke 21:28. Jesus said, when you begin to see all these things coming to pass, look up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. Again, guys, endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. That's going to be our main website. You can bookmark it today. You can get our free app available on Apple and Android devices. Just simply hit yes to push notifications, and you're going to have everything notified right there at your fingertips. And as always, guys, if this ministry has been a source of blessing to you, it's a continual source of information, revelation, equipping. We would love for you guys to pray about becoming a monthly partner. You can do that 2 different ways. You can give electronically. It's several ways you can do that, through the app, through the website, different ways. Or you can give through check or money order right there at End Time Headlines, P.O. Box 1391, Monroe, Georgia, 30655. So guys, listen, we're gonna sign out here on this Saturday. But don't forget, we will be off tomorrow. Sunday we'll take our day of rest, and we'll be back Monday night, the 6th of January, right here, YouTube, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, live devotional and prayer. So come with your prayer requests. Come expecting. Bring your husband, bring your wife, bring your spouse, bring your children, bring your family, bring a friend, and come right here live on our YouTube channel. If you're listening by Rumble or whatever social media out there and you're coming over here, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can be a part of this. We're going to come together as a corporate body, and we're going to bring a word of a devotional word, an equipping word, and then we're going to pray into that, and we're going to pray for one another as a corporate body and lift each other up in the power of intercession and prayer in Jesus' name. So we'd love for you to be a part of that. Again, that's this Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So until we see you guys in a couple days, I pray that you have a blessed and safe weekend, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.